I appreciate the opportunity to speak to all of you. My name is Sheila Rajerich, and as they've said, I was a past patient at Shriners Hospital. The way I got to Shriners Hospital is I was born with a rare congenital birth defect known as thrombocytopenia absent radius. It's also known as TAR syndrome. I was born with a hole in my heart, with no arms, no kneecaps, a low platelet count, my hips were dislocated, and my feet were pointed in. At Malden Hospital, I quickly got transferred over to Floating Hospital in Boston, and they didn't expect me to live. They pretty much told my parents that it would be unlikely for her to make it through the night. So I had this kind of motto in my mind, I think as a young child, is go ahead, tell me I can't, and I will prove you wrong. And I did, and I survived through the night and through the weeks. And at around the age of 18 months old, we had a neighbor down the street from us, and he was a Shriner. And he approached my parents, and he said, I'd like to sponsor your daughter to go to Shriners Hospital. And at the time, we didn't really know who Shriners was either. I'd had a lot of medical care, the insurance had covered some stuff, but a lot of the medical bills were starting to add up because of the blood stuff and the heart and all of that. And they hadn't even started to think about looking at the orthopedic care that I was going to need. And so my parents were grateful. So a call went into Shriners Hospital to the best of known ability to me, and we were arranged to meet with Dr. Kruger. Dr. Kruger was an amazing surgeon and a friend. And when he first met my parents and myself, he shook their hands and he said, one day your daughter will walk. That same meeting, Dr. Kruger understood the importance of being there and letting the child be okay. I had also come from a medical background where people weren't necessarily the most comforting or kind. And so my first meeting at Shriners, when I look back at the hospital notes, it says child was a little upset and crying and didn't want anyone to touch her. And my parents have told me that at that meeting, Dr. Kruger made everyone step away and hand me some toys and say, let her calm down, and if we can do something today with her, we will, and if not, then we'll come back later. And that's the kind of medical care I received here from the age of 18 months until 21 years. It was a non-judgmental place, which was so important. It was a second home to me. I remember that I used to always believe that I was Dr. Kruger's favorite. I was excited when I had a doctor's appointment as a child, and I don't remember many kids liking the doctors. I would come with coloring pictures and new pictures, and I would run over to Dr. Kruger to give it to him, and I would be all excited. I had a lot of braces, and I had a lot of surgeries at Shriners. And when I did have those surgeries, they were scary, but there was also something I kind of learned to deal with. One of the other things I had to learn to deal with was all the orthopedic braces after the fact. And I remember that getting my cast taken off was kind of scary for me. And so I believe it was Ed in orthotics who decided that the best way was to make me laugh. And so he used to draw happy faces on my knees. And he said that this was a very special thing that we did, and it would make all your tears go away. And then he would also draw a railroad track from my toes all the way up to my thigh. And when he brought the saw up, he would do a little choo-choo sound for me. And, you know, it did. It made me feel better. It made me smile. And then for a long time, they wouldn't even stop. By the time I was older, and I was like, I'm good, I don't need that, they were like, but no, we've been doing this since you were a child. So I had to let them still do it. Another thing that I had the opportunity to do as I've gotten older when I've worked with Shriners Hospital is around the age of 18, just when I was supposed to age out of Shriners services, I decided I wanted arms. And it had been asked years and years, do you want them? Are you interested? And I said, no, I'm all set. But I was about to go to college, and I had this theory in my head that I couldn't carry lunch trays efficiently. And so if I had a set of arms, I'd be able to do that. So I went to what should have been my last appointment at Shriners and said, can I have a pair of arms? And this was apparently a really exciting project for all of them in orthotics, and they were like, yep, sure, we'll do that. And so I continued services here. And they did create a pair of arms for me. They were quite ingenious. Unfortunately, I think if I really would have used them, I should have done them as a child because it was revamping everything I ever knew. And so I enjoyed the process. They enjoyed it. They learned a lot of new things, how to give prosthetic arms to someone who has a working hand. And then I was able to take those arms for a while and do some education around disability awareness. So my life is right now a very full and independent life, and it is that way because of Shriners Hospital. I live on my own. I drive a vehicle. I use foot controls in order to be able to do the steering. I have received a bachelor's degree at Suffolk University in government, and I have a master's degree in criminal justice. Most recently, I have gotten my black belt in Taekwondo. This was a really incredible journey for me. I got involved with Taekwondo when I was out in graduate school just as a release of stress when I was trying to write that master's thesis. And then when I came home, I just kept at it, and it was really great. And I was always told as a child, stay active, because if you don't stay active, you're going to end up having your joints hurt more, or you're going to have more issues. And honestly, Sheila, you have enough, so let's just keep you active in things. And so I was active as a child, and I've continued to stay active. And since June, I've actually had an amazing opportunity open up to me. I ended up in the media, on local radio stations, news stations, and national and international, all because I received my black belt in Taekwondo. And this has opened an opportunity to me that I never realized could possibly happen. And it's created two things for me. One, I've been able to really start to pay forward what Shriners Hospital has done for me. When I left Shriners at 21 years old, I said, if there's anything I can ever do to help, please call me. And they have. I've spoken to donors, I've spoken to families whose children have disabilities as birth defects, or they've been in accidents and they've lost a limb. Most recently, I came up to the 85th anniversary and was exceptionally happy that we didn't get closed down, because when I read that in the paper, it was just something, just a horrible thing that shouldn't even have been fathomed. And so I've been able to start to be more of an ambassador for Shriners. And the other thing I've begun to do is motivational speaking. My entire life I've always just worked towards being myself and accomplishing as much as I possibly could. And I never truly understood what my life experiences meant to other people. And in the last few months, I've realized how inspiring my life has been to so many other people. And so now I'm working on speaking with organizations such as yourselves or anybody else who's interested in speaking, having me come and speak to them. I want to do awareness around disabilities. I want to do awareness around my disability, because so many people don't know what TAR syndrome is. It's extremely rare. And I want people to understand that when a person has a disability, they can do anything. They can do everything. My mother brought me up with the motto, the impossible only takes a little longer. And that's how I've lived my life. Thank you.